Graveyards and churches, the gateways between life and death. These are the usual haunts of ghosts. But today, I'm just here to play the organ. Tell me of the old souls in the swells and emerald green, and whisper where the wind calls with their hearts that beat. It was in a book from 1936 that I read about Britain's most remote beach, Sandwood Bay, in the far northwest Highlands. A place where they say the unparalleled beauty is only to be matched with the dark secrets it holds. Stories of shipwrecks, of Spanish gold, and of course, ghosts. It's October, and the first flush of autumn is turning the leaves. And as I set out, it's fitting that the sky is a ghostly pale. This isn't just a self-indulgent quest on the trail of ghouls or mermaids, though they too have been sighted where I'm heading. When I first read about Sandwood Bay, I just knew I had to go there. I wanted to experience the place for myself, to find inspiration in the journey of getting there, meeting some of the people who cherish it, and then to write a song that tries to capture some of the beauty and mystery of the place. So to Kinlochbervie from Inverness is only about 2.5 hours, but if you have a camera, it takes a lot longer. You have to keep stopping to look at all these beautiful roadside waterfalls. One of the last bastions against the motorcar. There's no road in, and no road out of Sandwood Bay. So the track's completely flooded today. It's going to be an interesting walk. A faint breeze from the northwest drifts in, says the book. Ice cold from the ocean. Never, either before or since, have I felt in Scotland this sense of loneliness so strongly. Perhaps it is haunted by the spirits of the past.
So I used to go to Sandwood at least twice a week for practice, and then I used to climb the mountains up weekends just to get my training in, you know.
I see.
And then once I came home, I said, oh, I love Sandwood so much, I'm going to go back. And I went back ever since.
I think it is the remoteness. It is something magical about it. It kind of gives you a feeling, because you're so remote, and you think things could be happening, and you don't know anything about it because you're here and there's no sound, and I don't know whether you noticed, but there was no bird song. There's no birds because there's no trees.
Honestly, it's so misty and barren. Seaton Gordon describes the walk into Sandwood Bay as being completely barren, but for 6 black crows that rise into the sky above him and then eventually disappear. Well, I haven't seen any crows, but there are some sheep. the only other living creature I've seen so far.
I have always walked there. And following on from I always walked there, what I don't like about today is that when I have started to walk there 25, 30 years ago when we were staying at the Reconic Hotel, before we came to live here, you always saw a herd of deer, some very rare birds, great northern divers in the little lochans, and you go today, don't see them.
I go a lot of other places walking, yes, but I go there the most because it's on my doorstep really. 10 minutes drive, and then I have my long walk and my picnic, or my, it all depends what time of day I'm there. Evening sometimes, and I never seen ghosts. I never met any, unless they come out at night, during the night perhaps.
Yeah, that's one of the stories about Sandwood. Apparently one of the keys to being able to see the mermaid, and I'm only speaking second hand, is that you've got to be slightly pie-eyed. Like a bottle of whiskey comes in useful.
At length, and with great relief, I reach the watershed, and I find the place well named. Sandwood is from the Old Norse sandvatn, or sand water, and from a great distance, the gentle roar of 10-foot waves is at once disarming and deceptive. The sea stack of Amburchel stands defiant, alone, like a sentinel of old, refusing to be toppled by waves that have wrecked many a hardened vessel. It's wild, but peaceful. And you can see why the Vikings used to dock their longboats here and rest as they made their way around Scotland. The Picts too lived here, and until the clearances, Scots also lived and farmed here on the wide, deep Machair. I'm a little bit disappointed not to see the skeletons of ships that Seton Gordon records were still visible in the sand in the 1930s. But time and nature have a way of sweeping away the frail efforts of our kind, and in a way, I'm kind of glad. And walking the sands, already I can hear melodies and lyrics in my head about how we all just want the same thing, which is to be loved and to be remembered. Further up the shore, the remains of a fishing hut stand testament to those few souls who have ever lived here, piling up the cold stones for walls, the sod and turf for their roofs. It's such a fragile existence here, and I'm reminded that in the 17th century the first maps of this area declared that wolves roamed here, not to mention the ghosts of sailors long dead. Most of the legends surrounding Sandwood involve sightings of a ghostly sailor whose footsteps can be heard on the shingle at night, but whose footprints are never to be found on the sand. It's said he was the victim of a shipwreck, and there were indeed many ships lost in the bay before the construction of the Cape Wrath lighthouse in 1828.
I did read a book about James McGrory. I don't know if you heard of him. He used to stay in Schachayak, just a mile over the hill from Sandwood, about a mile, I don't know. And he used to live there for 20 years. And he used to walk every week for his pension back to Balcreek post office and then go to Clonberry for his groceries. 20 years he spent there. That's a long time. And then they go on about, oh, the bearded sailor, you know. But I think people seen was James McGrory on the beach collecting wood and that, you know, the bearded sailor they called him because he had a big beard, and I think that's where that story came from.
After talking to local people about Sandwood and reading the different accounts of spirits and hauntings, I think what strikes me most walking around the villages of Kinlochbervie, Old Shore Moor and Shegra is just how many ruined buildings there are, some as a result of the clearances, some just abandoned by families that moved away. And maybe the real ghosts of Sandwood Bay are these empty dwellings, just lying in wait for someone to come back and rebuild them. So one of the things about coming home from a journey is that while you've been out on the road, you have all these thoughts and feelings that are all jumbled up. And when you get home, you can start to unpick them and try to put them into a form that will both interest and inspire other people. So when it came to writing the orchestral music for the Ghosts of Sandwood Bay for the video, I tried to bring out some of the tension that is there between the piano and the strings of what is obviously a very beautiful place for many people, but it's also tinged with loneliness. But when it came to writing a song, I wanted to focus very much more on the tenderness and sweetness of what people feel for the place today. And I tried to do that through the voice and the vocal melody and the harmonies. And so I very much hope that you like the song. And here it is. Tell me of the old souls in the swells and emerald green, and whisper where the wind's cold with their hearts that beat unseen. The sailors roam in silence, who fell where flowers are many strewn, where the bleach-white bones of long boats lie on sand beneath the moon. But I remember you, and this would be my tale, and this would be my tale, and I remember you. If only for a day. The ghosts of Sandwood Bay, the ghosts of Sandwood Bay. But I remember you, and this would be my tale, and this would be my tale, and I remember you. If only for a day. The ghosts of Sandwood Bay, the ghosts of Sandwood